Welcome to 1 Million
I
Cups.
just want to keep up with it.
How many folks in this room have never been to 1 Million Cups before? Just out of curiosity. Awesome. Well, welcome, guys. I think you'll really enjoy it. For those of you who have been here before, you kind of know the drill. We have 2 startups from the community or from outside of the community, as the case may be today, who will come up here and present what they're building. Then you will listen. They will have 6 minutes, and then it's your turn to ask questions, make suggestions, make connections to them, help them grow those businesses and become successful. In exchange for that, we've provided you with delicious Cow coffee. They have been so generous to donate to us. It is what keeps us thinking and keeps us asking those great questions. We are also going to go into some of the events that you'll hear about in the middle section. If you'd like to learn more about those events, if you'd like to learn more about the startups who are up here presenting, we do send out a weekly email about that. The sign-in sheet is right there by the door. If you would like to receive that, it is all you receive. We don't give you tons of great credit card offers or insurance scams. It's just that one email. My name is Sean Kenny. I'm an organizer here at 1 Million Cups, along with Marianne, Chris, Danielle, and JJ. In absentia is Richard Wood at the 1 Million Cups home base in Kansas City. We also have Carly hiding behind the embankment there. Carly is the one responsible for actually doing all of the work, for putting together that email, and for helping us actually make this thing run. I will shut up because I'm very excited. We have 2 great presenters today. First is Mark Swanson, who I think most of us know, a very successful entrepreneur, who is giving back to the community with the Thunderdome.
All right, thank you very much. My timer started. All right. So somebody asked me, why are you calling this the Thunderdome Project? And the reason I'm calling it, or we're calling it the project, and my other partner here is Kurt. He's going to answer all the questions because he's the detail guy. But project implies something that involves other people, contractors and stuff. And this is a community project, and I'm asking the community to get involved, and I hope you are as excited about this as I am. Because we have a big problem. Not only in Tampa Bay, but in our nation, we have a problem with innovation. We have, I think because of the internet, a lot of countries are out-innovating us. And technology is advancing faster than our ability to field it. And we see this a lot in large companies. How many people have worked for a large company? It seems like you never can get things done. So I left Bright House doing that. But it is actually particularly prevalent and problematic in our nation's military. So it takes an average of 4 to 5 years to field a new idea. A standard small business innovation research grant is going through 3 phases. By the time it's fielded in production, it's 8 years. But I mean, that is light years in technology. And so, as interestingly enough, the DoD has said, we can't solve this. We are reaching out to our nation's entrepreneurial community to help us innovate faster. And that's what the third offset is. So one thing, a takeaway from here, I'd like you to go Google third offset on your free time and learn about what that is, because there's some exciting opportunities. Now, we also have an innovation challenge in Tampa Bay. We are not known as an innovation hub. You Google the top 10 places for startups and innovation, Tampa doesn't show up. We have limited programs supporting that. Hats off to the things like Million Cups for being the catalyst of that. But we have bigger problems. Limited capital. We have cultural hurdles. Our companies here don't actively reach out to startups to use their products and services and help them get off the ground. And we have the Bay problem. We're competing against Tampa Bay, within Tampa Bay to Tampa proper and Clearwater. And we need something that unites us. In fact, if you look at angel capital stuff, you see no star in Tampa Bay. We don't have any funded accelerators in Tampa Bay where you pay people to come through them and attract new companies. However, we do have an interesting asset that we have not leveraged, and that's the United States Special Operations Command, right over here at MacDill, that is a very interesting organization because it is the only military unit that has procurement authority outside of the standard armed services. That means they have every bit of approval to resource and purchase technology products and services without having to go through the Pentagon. So there's a lot of technologies that they're interested in, and you see some lists on the left, and I'll give you an example on the right. These are things that overlap with the civilian tech force. So So what the Thunderdome Project is doing is trying to leverage Tampa Bay's ecosystem to create a diverse network of innovators and put them all together under a cohesive umbrella and basically say, SOCOM, we're here to help you with this innovation problem. And interestingly enough, since SOCOM is viewed as the tip of the spear in terms of innovation within the entire Department of Defense, we can be the tip of the spear in terms of new products and services that they want to try. So what the Thunderdome Project is doing is creating a platform. Now, in order to leverage this platform, we want to also solve another problem for SOCOM, is they can't buy things in scale. They're only about 66,000 people strong, and if you buy, they typically buy 1,000 or 2,000 widgets, but 1,000 or 2,000 widgets doesn't excite people. Millions of widgets do, so we're partnering with industry to look for shared problems. A good example is with Florida Blue, we're looking at doing wearable technologies to bring them scale, ideas for entrepreneurs, and then R&D labs. We're tapping into the nation's 37 R&D labs for DoD to bring innovation. So our mission is to leverage this ecosystem both here regionally as well as nationally to create a vibrant ecosystem where we are bringing technology and helping our companies as well as US SOCOM here be more innovative. We're also looking at and planning right now an accelerator portion on that, and you guys know what an accelerator is, so I'm not going to go into that. But we organized the accelerator into a thing called UDA, which is a basic military framework done in the 50s. This was Kirk's idea, and we created a program where we're bringing together in 4 phases a very structured innovation program where we're attracting local and national companies to do that. But probably most exciting is we think we can put together a fund for this. So Kirk and I were up in St. Louis. We're actually working with a company out of Silicon Valley that does this, and we've used their playbook, innovating for Nestle. And they've created a $40 million super angel fund with about 235 investors. They've already funded, they have 170 startups, funded about 30 or 40 of them, already had 4 exits. And it's a unique model where they'll invest seed dollars in very specific startups or accelerator programs that allow them to get going. And then the beauty of this is they invest in the winners out of those accelerators. So they can follow the different accelerators and then do that. So I'm going to stop right here for questions. I know I've dumped a lot on you, and I think I might have some. So. Yes.
Can you explain a little bit more about the accelerator? I know you went over it, but there's probably a few people in the room that aren't as familiar with it, and they're usually framed a little bit different.
Yeah, so my definition of an accelerator is it's got kind of 3 things. Number 1, it's cohort-based. So people start all on the same day, unlike an incubator that comes in, and they go through a structured program. Number 2, it's very mentor and corporate driven, and the accelerator program provides the resources to help those companies in that cohort be successful. So in our example, what we're doing is leveraging SOCOM to help frame the problems, because I think that fundamental to a good business is solving a good problem. If we can get good problems from SOCOM in companies, we can rally our entrepreneurs to build and pivot good businesses around them. And then we're also leveraging companies like Jabil to provide design for manufacturability services. I did a startup, invested in one, as an example, where we finished the prototype and we said, let's go to manufacturing, and we found out it was going to cost us twice as much as we thought to build the thing. And it was literally, we had to go back and refund the thing to get it to a point where we could actually build it in scale. So that's very important. So we're trying to bring the resources together in an accelerator program. And then the third thing you do is provide the funding necessary to be able to do that, to give them, we're looking at around $50,000 to get them through the program so that they have a successful tested product at the end. Oh, I didn't know that. So that's what our accelerator program is doing, and it starts with really framing the problem in a big session where you bring in everybody together and get the innovators together with the problem solvers together with the mentors that can enable to help it. Yeah.
Yeah, so you said it's in Tampa Bay?
Yes.
Which side of the bay are you talking about?
Well, it's on this side of the bay.
Woo!
And it's also on the other side of the bay.
All right.
It's all of Tampa Bay.
So-
we have a location, we have several locations now. I have an office right over on Second South, on the second floor. We have an office and I call these offices, they're cubicles, but we have an office in Tampa Bay, and I'll go half there and half over there. Kirk and I both live in Tampa and St. Pete. So I want to eliminate that question, because this is all of Tampa Bay coming together, and we're going to talk a little bit at the end about an event, and it's going to be all over Tampa Bay. Yeah.
One question, one comment. First of all, is this associated with SOCOM's lab that they've set up over there off the Hillsborough River?
Yes. Well, it's not on Hillsborough River anymore. We moved it. And this is SoftWorks, and yes, we are partners with SoftWorks. And this, Kirk and I have been working on this. Kirk worked on it before I did. He wrote a white paper on it, and I wrote the business plan. But we've been working hand in hand with the head of all of SOCOM acquisition for the last year. And this is the guy that has the budget authority to spend about $7 billion of overall SOCOM budget. There's $568 million of R&D funds. Most of that goes somewhere else. But of that, he spends less than $15 million of those R&D funds on companies here. And our goal is to have him spend at least $100 million of that here.
Can you go back to your slide with all the entities, JPL and the Innovation Lab, whatever in there?
Mm-hmm.
This one, this is what I would consider the challenge, is kind of coming up with shared values within this group of entities. How do you do that?
So we personally briefed and are regularly meeting with all these people. And we've been kind of doing this behind curtains right now. There's a core group that meets probably every 2 weeks that are part of this, a couple individuals from USF. We're also meeting, we talked to Eric Rise of Lean Startup. We've got, there's a course in Stanford on how to innovate within the military. We're working with them. That's Steve Blank, you guys know him. This is not something that, we've been working on this a year, so we've talked to pretty much everybody and briefed on this and is on board. So you're right, that's a big challenge, yeah.
Do you think there might be a logo missing from there?
Oh, there's a ton of logos missing.
Maybe where we are?
Yeah, well, I'm reaching out now. I hope that we won't see any logos on here at the end of this year. There'll be so many logos on here you can't distinguish them. So, yeah.
Question and a comment. Question: who on your team is affiliated with SOCOM or work there, or whatever? Like, what's that direct connection? And then, I think maybe it was the team. And then, just as a comment, we had a similar experience where I think the challenge is expressing to the community what specifically the problems are. Because when you look at the DHS S&P grants or all these things that are out there, these big broad problems, and nobody says, there's not always a clear definition of, hey, here's the challenge we have, because you don't necessarily want to share to the rest of the world what that is. So we had an experience going through the whole SOCOM innovation process, and it was like, hey, we have this challenge, let's see what you got. One meeting, Black Box City, and then
this is the reason why we're creating this.
So I see that, so I think that's just a comment. I think that's great that you're pulling one.
Well, I'll give you an example I use is we have a C4I challenge. SOCOM says that. How many people have products and services that can solve the C4I challenge? How many people would know what that is? So there's a huge language barrier. There's a zillion acronyms that no one here knows. And what we're doing is we're the translators. And to answer your question, Kurt is a former special operator, and he actually worked in procurement. So he knows, you can probably answer that better about the question about how we're going to change that culture.
Yeah, so part of it, DoD has a problem with innovation. They know they have a problem. Right now they're kind of stumbling around in the dark looking for the light switch, as you can see by what they're doing out in Silicon Valley and a couple of places. But they are actively searching for new ways to solve problems. So what we've done is approach them and say, hey, we think you have a problem connecting, even though you're trying to connect with small businesses, entrepreneurs, you have a problem doing that because you really don't understand this, not at all. So let us work work with you and help you understand the space, help you design methods to reach out to that community to solve your problems.
Yeah, Kirk knows the system on the inside, so then he's been an entrepreneur with a lot of criteria. All right.
So how are you guys working with veteran-owned diverse companies to bring them into the fold?
We're not distinguishing between veterans, women-owned businesses. It's just all businesses that think they have something or would like to engage with. It's not just the military, and I want to emphasize this. It's a catalyst. We're leveraging SOCOM as a bug light to draw these big companies and say, hey, I'd like to work with them to solve this problem.
But doesn't SOCOM have designations, have requirements for diversity for veteran-owned companies?
So,
Yes.
short answer is yes.
Okay, so are you guys delivering any value? Because right now I'm bidding on some work with SOCOM.
So in terms of solving challenges, it's irrelevant who it comes from. But
Oh, really?
one of the biggest values that a company can bring to a government project manager is allowing him a way to spend his own money. And you do that with contract vehicles. So once we get past the problem to actually funding solutions, there are multiple programs based on status, veteran status, woman-owned status, Native American status, 8A status, all those things that we can leverage to be able to find ways for that program manager to fund the solution.
So you guys have insight and expertise in that arena?
Yes, absolutely.
We want to Sherpa you through this process. I mean, how many people here have worked with the military contracts? All right, it's hard, isn't it? And it takes a really long time. So our goal, this whole thing, from idea to evaluation, is 6 months.
So what's the trade-off from the startups and you guys and DoD? I mean, you guys are going to give these guys all this funding, but what are you getting in return? Is it purely philanthropical, or I guess
Right now it is.
Yeah.
But let me go to this. Here's a unique aspect of this fund. So the overall Thunderdome Project nonprofit is going to be sponsored, funded. So companies like Jabil, we're asking, we're doing a thing for GuideWell right now, and they're paying us to do some stuff on these proposals. But the fund we're planning on leveraging STTR dollars and SPIR dollars to be able to, and then take money and partner those with a fund to take equity stakes in the startups that come through that process. And then there'll be a 2% or 2.5% 20 carry on it's a standard fund metrics that when you get those exits, it comes back into the fund. And the fund is a for-profit fund. It'd be difficult to get people to invest into a nonprofit fund. Right?
Have you thought about the Peter D. Amanda's X-Prize model and make a set time frame for solve this problem in this amount of time and have it for a prize?
Yeah, that's one of the funding. I mean, Kurt, there's like 6 or 7 different vehicles that are non-standard that we're trying to leverage as many as possible of those to do that. In fact, I think this challenge, I don't know, Kurt, you can talk about that. On the storm, that's a challenge. It's not really an X prize though, is it?
Right. But yes, we have looked at those models. SOCOM has, in the last year, gained authority for prize challenges. Their issue is being able to compete with some of the bigger prize challenges because they don't have the budget to do really big prizes. Congress doesn't give them that kind of money for it. But if we can leverage what SOCOM does have and use those authorities to leverage commercial investment, community investment, then yes, we would look at doing some prize challenges.
I imagine most of what SOCOM does has a level of security clearance.
Yeah.
So how do you get around that in the public-private combination that you're trying to do?
So you'd think that, but in the reality, what's happened is technology that's off the shelf has exceeded the capacity of the technology that we're innovating within DoD. And most of the things, if you look at the level of security, the things that they procured 20 or 30 years ago, it's vastly different today. We believe, one of our theses is that most commercial off-the-shelf technology can be modified fairly easily to solve those problems, and that's what we're trying to do. If it's something that's so secret, that they can't do it, this isn't the model for that. But the DoD believes that too. They recognize that, an iPhone has vastly more capability than any type of communication device spec'd out 5 years ago that they're still trying to field. So, that's it.
Kind of a follow-on question to that, if, the public sector is innovating so much faster than the military, which we all agree is true. Are you expecting the military to then start innovating and implementing things at the same pace as the public sector, or is the public sector going to have to maintain and support products for much longer than they typically would because the military is still using 5, 10, 12, 20-year-old technology?
I'll give you a short answer and I'll let Kurt follow up. But there's an initiative by the Secretary of Defense called Better Buying Power, and one of the philosophies behind that is we have to embrace planned obsolescence because that's what the commercial sector does. And in this process, if we can get something from an idea to fielded in 6 months, we're keeping pace. In fact, we may be able to exceed it. I believe the only way DoD is going to exceed the ability of the traditional commercial sector to deliver products is by leveraging entrepreneurs, guys that are willing to work 20 hours a day, and brilliant people that can come up in small teams that can put things together versus, those teams will always out-innovate a big company. And so the big DoD, manufacturing companies like Lockheed or Northrop Grumman are going to have to, embrace small teams. They're welcome to come in and put a small team in there and run this through the process too. You got any addition on that?
So I don't think the government will ever innovate as fast as the commercial space. There are just too many barriers. The Navy just led a contract last year to keep Microsoft XP running as their enterprise. But we'll get them faster. We'll get them to embrace some changes, and we'll get some lean and agile principles and kind of thing like that.
So you and Right.
Well, my question is, what about the budget allocations from the DoD to actually invest in implementation of one of these things? That process starts way back. You got this highly functioning Congress that we have. And so that I can't see that this would be something that would be, if they would be able to implement some of these things because of that. So, while innovation may be there, one of the problems is there's no market. You can't sell to them. You can't sell to them.
Yeah, so one of the problems that they have right now is commercialization. So you can imagine if SBIR program, the Small Business Innovation Research Program, if it takes you 5 years to get the prototype and 8 years to get to something I can start to field, maybe my customer doesn't need that anymore. So he's already got a new solution. So there's a lot of things that there's a term they use called a value debt. I've got it got funded, I produced it, and I can't even commercialize it because the government process takes it. So we think that by shrinking down that innovation process to 6 or 8 months from idea to prototype, that we can actually continue to leverage the people that came up with the problem. They're still going to have their problem. So I'm doing some work in D.C. with a company right now that they've been tasked to look at the whole commercialization model that the government uses because they have goals, and with the exception of SubCom, I don't think you guys need
I want to know how is your evaluation of the contract? How far you are along?
The evaluation of what?
What is your evaluation? How far you are along?
I'm not sure the question.
How far you are along with the contract?
Well, we're not worried about federal contracts. I mean, one of the things that we, the principles that we started this with is we are not going to take money from SOCOM to do this. We're going to create this ecosystem for them to plug into because we can't be tethered to a government program because then you're subject to the political whims of funding. Well, we liked you last year, but we don't like you this year. We've got to create this as a community to stand on its own because it not only benefits the community, but or the military, but it also benefits the big companies in our community.
Oh, you're afraid so. Putting it different in 35.
No, we're antithetical to that whole process. Let's just create a new process and say, hey, you know, this is an entrepreneur process. This is a lean startup methodology. I mean, you can't go to the government and say, hey, I want you to fund my lean startup mentality. They'll go, what are you talking about? All right, in the back. Right?
Yes, so say I was an entrepreneur, how would I find out what kind of problems you're trying to solve and how do I get
Hold
involved?
that thought. That'll be the last question.
Okay.
Well, then we're ready for it.
Oh, we are?
That was the last question.
All right, I'll be around afterwards. So we're starting a new thing called Thunderdome Thursdays. And Thunderdome Thursdays is basically, you know, we're trying to start that process that I laid out before with the problem first. We're going to flip this on its head, and we're going to start with, I have an idea, or I have a product or service in my company that's commercial, or I originally intended to commercial, but as I'm reading about the military problems, I think the military could use this. So Thunderdome Thursdays, we're going to start this on the 25th of February. It'll be the first one. It's going to be at Softworks. And you can sign up right now at thunderdome.io. And I encourage you to, we're starting a mailing list. We've already got about 120 people on the mailing list. Most of them are DoD contractors, but we'll be putting these out. Now the goal on Thunderdome Thursday is to have one every Thursday in a different area of the Tampa Bay region. So once a month, we'll probably do Thunderdome Thursday here in the afternoon. I haven't even talked to Kevin about this, but I don't think or Sean, I don't think you'll mind if we do it here. But we'll actually have, you know, military people here, as well as companies, big companies like Jabil and Tech Data, and people coming here. Basically, around, we're going to organize these around a specific topic. So one might be, you know, wearable technology, another might be Internet of Things and stuff. And then you come and you basically say, hey, here's my idea, and the military often will say, yeah, I can use that thing. So I'll give you an example. We've been starting this at the Wave, and we brought SOCOM in over and in social environments. And there's already 3 companies that have gone over to SOCOM and have gone on base and are now working on contracts. We sponsored a hackathon back in October, and I think a couple of the teams have been hired. And so what's interesting is SOCOM, they only have just a few guys that are trying to come up with requirements, but we're really expanding the horizon and saying, well, I didn't even know I had that problem, but I could see where this would plug in. So we're inviting you to come in. It's an open mic night, and then we'll give you a short presentation, a contextual presentation about what it is about, and then you got 5 minutes to get up and pitch your idea, and then there'll be a social afterwards for people to make connections. And we'll have a beer sponsor and stuff like that. This will be done like normally around 4 in the afternoon. So please log in, sign up, and we look forward to having the first Thunderdome Thursday here. The first one will be at Softworks, which most of you haven't been over to. We'll get a little tour of that, but it's SOCOM's innovation facility in Ybor City. And is that great? Did I get it?
And you'll be around after for
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you all.
Yeah,
We also,
know
I
problems
think
with
maybe
that.
already said at the beginning, but thank you, Cal Coffee, for supporting us. Upcoming events. This is what we always do in the middle if you're new here. Upcoming local startup events. Today and tomorrow, the Florida Venture Capital Conference is right here in St. Pete at the Vinoy, and that is a statewide conference with VCs. There's pitches, presentations. It is a registration required. So if you're interested in finding out more about it, go to the Florida Venture Forum online. You can look for the details about that. Tomorrow night is St. Petersburg Chamber's annual dinner meeting. Always a not to miss event. It's a great program. It is over at the Manhattan Theater at 6 o'clock. It is free for chamber members and $40 for non-members? Something like that. You can go on.
Whatever it is, it's super reasonable.
So reasonable. And they always have fantastic food, great conversation. February 1st is the deadline to apply for the 7th Annual Cave Museum Prize of Innovation. And if you want to learn more about that, if you Google it online, there's application form. It's a statewide competition. It is a great competition. If you have a company with innovation that's happening, I highly suggest getting involved because I've been on the review committee for that before, and it's just a great program. February 8th through 12th, Tampa Bay Startup Week. We have information that goes out in our email blast every week, and there's a lot of events that are happening throughout Tampa Bay. So another Tampa Bay-wide event. 1776 Challenge Cup Tampa. It's our first year competing in the Challenge Cup around here, and it's something that's taking place in other communities, but I'm sure that anyone else can talk to you more about it if you have questions. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Clarence Thea with Upsie, and he is our second presenter today.
So I'm super excited to be here today, so thank you, Sean, for letting me come present. There's two reasons why I'm excited to be here. First being, there's nothing like being in a room with great business minds, great entrepreneurs, and being able to get your business from people that are just a lot smarter than I am. Two, I live in Minnesota, so anytime you get a chance to get out, 12 below weather, and actually when I booked my ticket here, it was -12 outside with a -40 wind chill. So I told my wife she was staying home, she could live with that, and I was on my bed. So I always like to start with a question. How many of you guys in this room ever been inside a big box store? And I need you to keep your hands up when you answer this question. You've been inside a big box store, and when you get to the register, the person at the register hits you with that same question and offers you an extended warranty. How many people have been through that situation inside a big box store? So keep your hand up high as high as you can. How many of you actually enjoyed that moment? You enjoyed it?
I made money off my warranties, so the question
We'll get to that
is,
in a
if
few
you've ever
minutes.
made money off your warranties, you may not mind it.
Good point. That is the first that's ever happened to me. That's how weird. So we've all been at this moment, right? We walk inside a big box store, we're preparing to check out, and the guy at the register hits us with that same question: can I offer you an extended warranty? You know, even our president don't like this moment. It's but when we get to the register, we're all dealing with the same thing. Terms and conditions that none of us understand, so we actually don't know what we're purchasing at the register. We're generally paying somewhere between 300 to 800% markup at the register, especially when you're dealing with the bigger chains such as Best Buy, Target, and those guys. And when it's time to make a claim, does anybody ever know what their receipt is, or what the paperwork is, or how much time I have left on it? So we're just going to designate you the woman that knows.
Maybe you should hire her.
Good point. Get my card out. But we all deal with this same problem when we go to the register. But Upsie solves that problem for all of our consumers. So Upsie is a mobile app and a website that allows you to go and buy those same warranties that you would buy in the store. But you can buy them on your phone, you can buy them on our website, and we're generally going to save you somewhere between 50 to 90%. Nobody knows what their terms and conditions are when they're in the store. We tell you exactly in a fun, easy to understand way, without all the legalese and the terms and conditions. We tell you exactly what's covered on every plan. And when it's time to make a claim, you can do it all from the app. You press a button, we send you directly to the insurance company, so you don't have to worry about, do I go back to the store, who do I deal with, what number do I call? This industry is massive. It's a $40 billion industry in the U.S. alone. It's $102 billion globally. So big opportunity. Upsie is the only company in the country that's doing this. So this industry has a huge moat around it, and we're trying to tear that moat down. But it's a $40 billion industry with just a 23% attachment rate. So 23% of people on average that walk into a big box store purchase a warranty or purchase an auto warranty. So we think the opportunity is not just that 23%, we think the opportunity is 77% that don't buy. And if I ask you the reasons why you don't buy today, you're all probably giving me the same reason. It doesn't make financial sense, so they're buying an $800 TV, they're asking for $250 to protect it. Doesn't make sense. Now, you've all seen all these logos before. We've all been in Best Buy and Target and Menards. And when you're buying a warranty, you think that you're buying a warranty from one of these guys. Well, you're actually buying it from one of these guys. It's an insurance company on the back end that you're actually buying that plan from, who the company takes, they mark it up a lot, and then they sell it to you and they make the margin. We know a company that we're competing against that 85% of their bottom line profit is done off of warranty. So if it wasn't for their warranty business, they would die like Circuit City and everybody else. This gives you a perfect example of how it works today. So AIG gives the warranty to the big box store, because we can't say the actual company who that represents. They sell it to you for a marked up price. We take that same warranty from a great carrier and we offer it to you for a price that you can actually afford. But Upsie is so much more than just a mobile app. For us, it's about ease of use. It's about getting you through the product as easy as possible, getting you the terms and conditions that you really understand. And for us, it's about how do we make this process as easy and as painless as possible. And when it's time to make a claim, we hear this a ton. I don't know where my paperwork is. I don't know how much time I have left on my warranty. I don't even know what's actually covered. 50% of calls that came into our call center that we currently work today were just people asking, does my warranty cover this? And so they've seen a decrease in their call center about 50% in just calls that come in. So let's talk about how they work a little bit. And we've all if you've ever bought a warranty, you've been through this process before. So you go to a big box store and you buy a new TV, you get home 6 months later it breaks. We all have this shoebox or drawer at home where we have a bunch of receipts. And we find the paperwork and say, okay, what's actually covered? So we say, hey, let's put the TV in the car, let's go back to the store, only for the sales associate to tell us, hey, you should have called 1-800, I want to buy the sheet paper anyway. And then we get our TV fixed. But this is how Upsie works. The whole process happens on your couch with a fake the whole process is done on your phone or on our mobile website, where you can do the whole process there. We store your receipt, we store the warranty, so when you get there to make a claim, all that information is sitting there in front of you, so you're empowered when you're making your claim. 20% of our customers, this actually rolls, so since December 1st, this is the whole deck. This is actually up to 25% already. 25% of our customers have already bought multiple warranties, and if you're in the warranty business, such as this lady over here, I'm sure you are, about this. Consumers don't just buy warranties like that, so we think this is a great indicator of where we're going. 11% of our purchase happens 40 days after they download the app. So they never create an account, they download the app, and they get in that moment in the store, and they're empowered with information at their fingertips.
Are you clumsy?
This talks about, so people ask how do we talk to our customers. We're very, very like millennial driven type of company. So we talk like a millennial type company.
Are you a clumsy, unlucky SOB but hate buying warranties? Well, now you can pay this instead of this. Now it's finally worth it to cover your ass. So, yeah, and save up to 90% on the same warranty.
They got it. Turn that up just.
So I'm going to skip it too soon because she gave me the hurry up and get done. I'm really focused on making sure that we hire the biggest and the best in our industry. And I really challenge myself every day to be the dumbest guy in our room. And I definitely think I've done that with our team. We've been fortunate we brought on the former CEO of Best Buy, Brian Dunn, to chair our board and to help our team. He's navigated this industry. Best Buy is the biggest warranty seller of consumer electronics in the world. And Stacey Webb, who's actually former chief of staff with Best Buy, is now our COO. So we hired her about 4 months ago. And then the rest of our team, these guys are better. They've been in retail forever. And they allow us to really push our business forward. And our board of directors, Jason Bristow is a former treasurer for Amazon. He was there for 11 years. And he helps our board. So she has given me the imperative to get done. Okay, so thank you.
Two awesome presenters yet again. Another round of applause for Upsie and Thunderdome Project. When we talk about sharing this on social media today, sharing that you were here today at 1 Million Cups, that your friends learn about this event and show up next week with hashtag 1MCSTP. I think what I'm going to do is say, share Upsie and Thunderdome and say, go tell your friends to stop getting screwed, because I think that was one of the best to the end of our presentation. So great job, both. If you are not getting our mailers about what's going on next week, who's going to be here, there's a little sign-up sheet right there by the door. Over there. If you are thinking of presenting, we take companies that are under 4 years old, under $1 million in revenue, and doing something innovative and scalable, right? So you can see how the businesses today continue to scale, right? So that's what we're looking for.
You can be at the idea stage, hey, here's what we're thinking of doing. Or you can be at the stage where you already have a commercialized product, but you're still a new and growing business. So if any of them apply to you or somebody you know, please tell them about 1 Million Cups, show up and see what it's all about, and then go to the 1 Million Cups website, enter your company profile. You can create a company profile on the website. That doesn't mean that you're registering to present. That just means that you get put in the network of companies in this area that are part of this 1 Million Cups community. And then at the time comes where you say, okay, I want to talk about my idea, then you simply drag your company over and say, boom, I'd like to talk about presenting. And the organizers will talk to you about getting up one this week. So thank you again, everyone, for a great week. Thank you, Kyle, for the sponsorship, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, like doing the neti pod, I went to a doctor, they gave me antibiotics, now it's like